It's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch steel bar. I cut it off to about 14 inches long. This is stuff that I had laying around, so I'm going to clean the rust off of it. Okay, that's good. Next thing I'm going to do is the piece of file that I showed earlier. I'm going to grind down these teeth on this side to make it flat. Now, even though this has been annealed, it's still pretty darn hard. It does take a little bit of sanding to get it down flat. Now, I need it absolutely flat here. I need to get rid of these teeth altogether. Well, I flattened this side. I got rid of all the teeth. It's ready to grind down this side a little bit, try to make it flat. To make this side parallel to the other side, I've got a thin file here. I've got a couple of blocks taped to it. Now the blocks are about the thickness of the steel that I want it to be when it's done. There's a couple of layers of tape on here still, so I can take them off as I get down closer. This doesn't have to be perfect, but this makes it more accurate. As you can see, my initial machining here, the sanding, was more on one side than the other. So this will get it down flat and parallel. I can see I'm getting down to the limit here, so I'll take some of this tape off. Okay, I'm just going to finish filing this down, and then the next step is to square off this end and then cut it to length. I'm going to cut it to about 1.25 inches long and round off this end. The next step is to take my 14-inch long 1/2 inch steel, and I need to cut a little bit of a notch for this to sit in. It doesn't have to be deep, but it has to be there to keep this from pivoting too much. I'm going to have the cutter actually sticking out about 1/2 inch. This cutter is the hard part. This is the cutting part of the tool, and this can be sharpened. Before that, it can be hardened, and then afterwards it can be sharpened over and over again. So having it sticking out a little bit is good. Okay, you can see what I got here. Pretty flat notch. It's not bad. I'm just gonna, first I'm gonna quench that because it's damn hot. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect because the cutter is going to be epoxied in as well, and that will fill any gaps between the materials. I just need to mark where the hole's going to be, and it's going to be drilled out and tapped for a 10-24 screw. It'll be right in the center of that. Okay, I drilled and tapped out this. That's for this screw right here. This is a 10-24 screw. As you can see, it screws in nice and clean. The next thing I want to do is make this hole a bit bigger so that the screw can go through. And a step drill is good for this because when you try to make a hole like this a little bit bigger with this twist drill, you'll run the risk of breaking the shoulders off. Go the next size up. See if the screw fits. The screw fits perfectly. So that's it. I don't have to do anything more with that. And now this piece is ready for hardening. First I want to see how it fits on the holder. This screw is just going to be a little bit too long. It's going to stick through the other side, but I'm going to grind that off afterwards. As you can see, it's a good fit. I've got a magnet sitting here. You can see the cutter sticks to that, no problem. The idea is that once this reaches temperature that it will harden at, it won't stick to the magnet anymore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and put it in the oven for around about half an hour at 400 degrees, and that will temper the steel. That'll take some of the hardness out, but it'll also make it a little bit more resilient. Mix up some epoxy. Doesn't take very much, just a little bit, and that'll go between the cutter and the notch so that it will lock it in place. The screw is the main mechanical fastening, but the epoxy, the cutter is straight and pretty much welds the two pieces together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cutter and put that in place. And I can put the screw in, and all I got to do is make sure that once I'm satisfied that it's straight, I'll tighten the screw really tight, and that's it. That's the cutter part done. Just got to make the handle.